Hey guys, what's going on? If you're new here, my name is BrittanyNichole. I have hooded eyes and I tend to do a lot of videos that suit my hooded eye boys and girls, but don't worry, if you don't have hooded eyes, it could totally work for you as well. You just don't have to fake your crease. So as you could tell by the title of this video, today we are going in with the Dose of Colors Part 2 collection with Desi and Katy using the Friendcation palette. When I saw these shades, I immediately wanted the palette and it launched at Ulta today. I went out as soon as they opened, picked it up, and here I am filming this video. So I did have a little bit of trouble to start with the shimmers. I have hooded eyes, obviously, I've said it about a million times, and you could kind of see where my eye kind of creases here. It's kind of removing some of the pigment from the blue. Even if I go in and kind of reapply, it kind of removes that pigment. So I thought they would be really opaque, and I feel like they're not as opaque as I thought, but not in a bad way. I still really like them. I would personally just kind of go in with more of a base if I was to do this again. I think that's mainly because I have hooded eyes and they kind of crease in a bunch of different places and it kind of lifts the color. So just a heads up, if you have hooded eyes, if you do have like a dark blue or a purple base, you might want to slap that on before going in. I kind of talk about this in the video too. I just wanted to kind of use just the palette for this tutorial. So yeah. Don't worry if this is too much color for you. Like, this is a lot of color for me. I never thought I would really do a royal blue eye, and here I am, which I love this palette for. Again, it allows me to be creative and get outside my comfort zone, but don't worry if this is too much for you. I'll definitely be doing another video with just the matte shades in the palette. So that was a long-winded intro. If you guys are interested in seeing how I got this look right here, go ahead and keep watching. All right, so the first shade I'm gonna take is Necessary, and I'm gonna put that on a Smith 232 brush. So this is what it looks like in the pan, but I feel like it comes off on the lid a little warmer than it looks in the pan. This looks like a cool brown, but when you put it on, I feel like it looks a little warmer. And this is a very pigmented shade, so just make sure to kind of tap very easily into the pan, then either kind of work it on the back of your hand first or make sure to really tap everything off. So I'm just gonna work this into the crease area. So you see how that's kind of going on the lid a little bit warmer than it looked in the pan. I don't know why it does that, but I like it. I'm just bringing that all the way into the inner corner where my nose kind of starts to contour. And these blend very easy. So this really takes minimal time, especially when you use a brush like the 235. So once you've blended that out to a point that you like, I like that, I'm then gonna dip into just a minimal amount of this shade right here, which is Girl Bye. And I'm just gonna put that right over Necessary, just so I kind of have that like pinkish tone, kind of like what Katy had when they like did that release video. I liked that, but I felt like I needed Necessary under it because I wanted Necessary to be more of the tone, but I wanted to make it slightly pink. I don't know if that makes sense, but I am taking this one and tapping it off on the back of my hand before going in. So we're just kind of changing it to more of a pinky tone. I just found when I was going in with Girl Bye alone, it was way too pink and I didn't like how it was blending. So not that it was hard to blend, I just didn't think it was as seamless as going in first with Necessary, if that makes sense. So now I'm just kind of taking what I applied on the outside corner and bringing that in. So we have that overall kind of pinky tone. Just like that. So then I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, the star of the palette, in my opinion, A Moment. It's funny because when you look at it on camera, it looks a lot more blue, but when I'm looking at it like in front, I really do see purple. And when Katy said that in the video, I was like, what is she talking about? But you can really see the purple kind of shift when you have like studio lights, which is kind of what I have up. So I was having a little bit of trouble. I don't know if you guys can see it here. I feel like it was hard for me to kind of build up pigment on like the kind of middle portion of the eye where my eye kind of hoods over when I'm not lifting my eyes. So I think if I had a deep purple or deep kind of blue base, I would go in with that first and then apply this over like a shadow topper. But I do just want to use the palette for this tutorial, so I am going to go ahead and take that on my finger. I just feel like they're a little more sheer than I was expecting. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm not knocking it at all. I just thought they were going to be like fully pigmented where I wouldn't have to work hard to kind of build up the pigment. And I feel like I do have to work a little bit hard. So just FYI, I don't mind it at all. And I think it's worth it with this shade, but because it is such a different shade, but just be wary. And I'll kind of show you as I go in here. And I find that my finger is the best way to apply it for the most opaque application, but I do get fallout with this no matter what I'm doing, if I'm using a brush or my finger, and that's probably just because it's a pressed glitter, so I'm not mad at that. Again, I just definitely wouldn't do your base before doing this. And as you guys know, I have super fat little fingers, so I like to go in with a smaller brush on the inner corner, sometimes my pinky, but you could see it's just not as pigmented when I'm going in with the brush. So I'm gonna try to build it up. Such a beautiful, beautiful shift and beautiful shade in general. It just takes a little finessing in my opinion. So I don't want to go in too heavy with that right away. That's good for me. And then I'm just taking a MAC 222, again, dipping into a moment just a little bit. And I'm gonna kind of start to blend the crease. And I kind of want like a more like winged look like I have here, so I'm going to kind of try to build that as well. I'm going to dip into Necessary with the Smith 230 and just kind of hit those edges to blend everything once again. And you can kind of see what I'm talking about how it's not completely opaque. So after I do this, I'm going to go back in with my finger and just kind of re-up the color. Trying to kind of stay clear of the crease where I just blended. And then while I'm here, I'm gonna go into the kind of more teal smoky shade, Game Over, right here. And again, I'm just gonna take that on a finger and I'm gonna kind of apply that in the outer corner just to kind of like deepen it and apply some kind of add some definition. Just using my finger. I'm not really gonna go in with a brush here at all. Like that, and then just to blend everything, I'm going to take that finger that I was using a moment on and just kind of touch over. And I do think the more you kind of fuss with it, the more it kind of like gets taken off of your eye. So I don't want to fuss with it too much. I just want to make sure to grab that color and make sure everything looks even, which I think they do. So again, going with the Smith 230, we're gonna clean up all this fallout with a makeup wipe. Just gonna blend those edges to make sure everything is seamless. I don't want like a super harsh stop of like the blue. So like I said, I'm just gonna take a fresh makeup wipe and I'm gonna clean up all of the fallout. It's not like horrible, but there's definitely glitter. And then I'm gonna kind of sharpen the edge here. Kind of going outwards because I kind of want that like lifted wing look. All right, so I'm gonna apply my makeup base. I'm gonna apply my concealer, and then I'll come back on here and show you what I did with the lower lash line, and everything will look a lot more put together because I'll have my full face on. So I will be right back. All right, so I went ahead and applied my foundation, my concealer, my highlight, my blush, my bronzer. I will list everything I used below, but I did want to mention I did use Fuego as my highlight because I have that from their last collection and I am obsessed with it. I threw it in the inner corner as well as a brow bone highlight because I felt like it looked good. And then on my lips, I didn't pick up any of their new lip colors because I just wasn't that intrigued. And I have a giant drawer full of lip color that I like never wear, so I'm not allowing myself to really buy lip color until I start to use what I have. So I have MAC half and half on. I do have their past lip colors, No Creamer Please and No Shade. I just don't love the formula, so I didn't want to use those. I do have Over the Top on top of that though. So I did want to mention those two items if you were curious. Everything else again will be listed below. So let's go ahead and work on the lower lash line. So I'm really just gonna kind of follow what I did on top minus the blue. So I'm gonna start with Necessary on a little pencil brush, and I'm gonna lay that from outer corner to inner corner, and then I'm just gonna deepen it up a little bit with Girl Bye. So starting with Necessary, I'm gonna hold my mirror up and work that from outer to inner, and then taking the same brush with Girl Bye, mainly focusing that first on the outer corner and then working inwards. I did apply a nude liner as well while I was off camera, just the Rimmel Exaggerate. And I debated going in with a darker color under my eyes, but I thought it really just kind of highlighted the lid and the bluish purple shadow by going in with just a matte, not too dark shadow underneath, and I really like how it turned out. All right, so lower lash line, let's go ahead and throw some mascara on there. I'm just using the Maybelline Lash Discovery. That looks so pretty. I do feel like once again I'm kind of losing the pigment where my eye naturally creases, so I'm gonna kind of try to build that up a little bit more real quick. I don't not like how it looks though. I think it looks kind of cool. It almost looks like a gloss, so I don't mind that. But again, if I had a deeper blue kind of base, I would probably lay that down first. But yeah, I think this looks so pretty, so outside of my comfort zone, so different from me, but also challenging and fun. So I think this is a super fun palette. I had high expectations for them, obviously, because they know what they're doing with makeup and they did not disappoint. So I think this is a really, really nice palette. I'm glad I picked it up and added it to my collection. I'm gonna try to do a couple more tutorials before I like move on to the next thing. We'll probably do something a little more neutral next. So if this is a little too heavy for you, definitely don't worry. I'm gonna do a couple more tutorials. I'll try to do like an all matte tutorial next. So that's it for this one. If you guys have any questions, as always, please let me know below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in seeing any more videos, please subscribe. It means the world to me, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.